How's it going, everyone? Name's Brandon Bozarth, and this is probably the realest video that I'm ever going to put up. This information that I figured out and that I found out through, people besides myself. I'm no professional, right? I've been in the industry for 2.5 years and haven't had nearly the success of a lot of people that have been in for 2.5 years at the same time length as me. But I've been fortunate enough to be around people that have been in the industry for over 25 years, that have been number one earners in 2 or 3 different companies. I've been fortunate enough to meet people that they run the back offices of multiple network marketing companies, and what I've learned completely saved me from leaving the industry. Like I tell people, I love the industry, but I hate it at the same time. And what I'm going to show you guys might change your opinion on your current situation like it did mine, but I promise you it will for the better, right? Because when I signed up for network marketing, I wanted to make a long-term residual income, and I wanted to be able to show people, and most importantly, how to change their life by making a long-term residual income. And I realized that what I was doing wasn't what I thought it was, right? The stuff that goes on behind the scenes and the trends, and a lot of people in a lot of companies right now, and I could name off hundreds of companies. 99% of the industry is messing up on these things, and it's why the industry is in such a flux right now, right? I spoke to someone that's been in the industry for 25 years. They said, I've never seen more leaders be burned. I've never seen more incomes fluctuate. I've never seen more people jump from company to company, and they didn't know what was going on. But we figured out what kind of caused everything. And before I go into it, I want to tell you guys my quick story, right? So I grew up in Half Moon Bay, California, and if you're into network marketing, you know the deal, right? I didn't have a lot of direction, and I was looking for opportunity. I got a we're gonna get rich call, and I decided to take a look at network marketing, and I got on board. Quickly fell in love with the industry. Turned my good 6 friends into 600. My first year had a moderate amount of success, and then what happened was my check started kind of dropping off, and a lot of times I would look up to my mentors and people that have taught me, and it was always the same thing. That's just how network marketing is. Just keep rebuilding it, and talk to more people, read more books, and I've read so many books and I've talked to so many people, and it was this constant build rebuild thing, and I started to accept it as that's just how network marketing is supposed to be built. Having like a 9%, 10% retention rate was normal. I looked at my business. I'm enrolled close to 50 people, and I couldn't get past those next couple ranks. And I looked at my team, and a lot of them were getting paid what they deserved. And I never thought once about looking somewhere else, looking into another company, looking to go work a job. Quitting was never an option. Like, I bled for that company, most loyal. I would rather, either I'm either gonna make it there or I'm gonna die. That's how I was. But at the end of the day, I needed to make money. What happened was a certain bonus ran out in my previous company, and I couldn't pay for my car payment, and I needed money now. So my buddy, he hit me up about this solar deal. He said, we can go door to door, make $1,000 a sale. Come check this thing out. And I was like, you know what? I'll do this part-time so I can make enough money to get back into network marketing. At the time I was kind of losing my passion for it. I felt like I was beating a dead horse. But I went out to go check out this solar deal, and I checked it out, and it seemed like something that I would want to do, and just to make enough money, right? So upon leaving that meeting, I walked out to my car, and there was a note on my car, and it said, look, if you're pursuing network marketing, give me a call. And I get on the call, and immediately I'm getting pitched some network marketing company, and you guys know how it is. It's network marketing. Everyone's trying to get everyone into their business and whatnot, and I was immediately closed off, turned off. It just a bad taste in my mouth, and I really didn't want to hear about it. It's this and that. This is what we're gonna fix. This and that, and it kind of went over my head. And I said, look, man, I'm in it to win it here, no matter what. I don't want to hear about it. And I hung up, and I completely ignored him, like most people do. The next day, I get a call from him again. He goes, look, I'm going to get you on a phone with a guy who's built a team from zero, in USANA, which is a $1 billion company. He built a team from 0 to 1 million customers and distributors. He's made millions in the industry, right? He signed a non-solicitation agreement, and then went to Monavie and did it again. Took 0 to 750,000 distributors. He's a legend in the industry. He's on the other line. Do you want to meet him? And I wasn't an idiot. Right? If you're watching the video now, what would you do in that situation? Someone that has more experience than any mentor I've ever met, more success, more credibility than anyone I've ever met. So I got on with him, and what he shared with me completely changed my paradigm on network marketing forever. And I'm thankful. I'm incredibly thankful, because without it, I probably would have left the industry, right? And, thankful for this information. I now know the difference in companies and where to call home. Like it's a home, and it's something you could depend on. It's not a job where you're rebuilding and building all the time. It's actually a residual income. And this is what I want to share with you guys. So what I want to share with you is the trend that's going on in network marketing right now. What is going on right now in the industry and how that happened and some of the problems, right? Number one, companies are having this roller coaster effect. You look at 99% of companies, and the top earners, the top 50 list is always moving up and down, right? The average attrition rate, retention rate in a company right now is below 10%, right? But at the same time, there's other companies out there, USANA for example, that grows 10 to 15% every single year, right? Why is that? Why do some companies look like this and other companies more like Amway go steady? What's the difference, right? These are questions that I had. I saw a lot of my friends' incomes dropping from way over 6 figures to way under 6 figures, and I started to think, is that their fault, or is it the model that we have? And I found out that a lot of it has to do with the model. I'm sure there's probably a lot of things they did wrong, and I thought a lot of things they could have did better, but I knew the majority of it was coming from the model. Right, so number one, first thing I want to talk about is Monavie. All right, if you guys look at Monavie, in 2005, they opened, and in their first 3 years, they broke every sales record in the history of network marketing. They broke the record. They went from 0 to 800 million in 3 years, right? They broke every single record. Fastest distributors to get to $1 million, fastest to get to 6 figures, fastest company growth ever, right? Monavie. Now, that company, what did they do? They caused a massive trend in the industry, right? And that trend was their model. Okay, now if you look at their model, if you can see this, the model that Monavie had. Now tell me if this is familiar. It's probably 99% of the companies in the industry. It's probably your company, it's my company, right? It's probably the majority of the companies that are out right now because of Monavie and their success, right? To go start a company, you gotta understand, I can go start a network marketing company right now. I could get some money together. I could go to a network marketing consultant, and at that consulting firm, what did they tell you? Well, the fastest growing, the most successful company that we've had so far is Monavie. And ever since Monavie, all these other companies started copying their model. It's the most popular model we have. So I would suggest this model, and the CEO, some business guy, some marketer, right? We're going to call Monavie a company built by marketers. Some marketer looks at the numbers, sees the margins and how much they can make from this model, and they do it. They have no reason why. You ask them why, they go, because the person at the consulting firm told me. That's how it works. So the model, high buy-in, high auto delivery, high ratio. The ratio, this means the ratio to profit. How many people do you need in your business to either get your product for free or to profit? The average company is 30 to 1. My last company was 45 to 1. Right now, these three things you can see in almost any single company out there. High buy-in, $300 to $1,200 to start. High auto delivery, between $150 and $250. High ratio, 30 to 1, 40 to 1, 50 to 1, just to make profit or get your product for free long term. Right now, these three things together, what they do is they cause a business model that looks like this. It causes a paycheck that looks like this. Unless you're a founding distributor, unless you're the CEO of the company, very few that get in early and have good timing and good spots, and you're always expanding maybe internationally, somehow it's always in your group. Majority of people, their career will look like this. And that's just how it is. You can call these the cause, and this the effect. There's no way to avoid that. This is the cause, that's the effect. And this is what's happening, and that's why there's so many people upset and getting bad taste in their mouth about the industry. It's because of this right here. Now understand, 95% of the industry has this model right now, and most of them have no idea why. And this is what I want to get across to you guys. The conclusion, right? For what this means altogether. Long-term purchasing power equals price competitive, number one. Price competitive, valuable products. Right? That's number one. In capitalism in general, price competitive products that are valuable should be a staple in any form of buying and selling. But the two main things that's going to determine retention, which, as we know, there's two things that are going to give you a long-term sustainable business. This is what I learned through my mentor, and you guys have probably heard this before, but retention and duplication. Those are the two things you need to build a long-term, large-scale, sustainable business. Retention and duplication. Adding people has never been the problem. There's 20 million people in the industry and growing. Adding people is never the problem. Keeping them around is the problem. Right, so here's the conclusion. If you have long-term purchasing power, or for long-term purchasing power to occur, you need a price competitive, valuable product, number one. But the two most important things, you need to give people the chance to get free product or profit, right? Because if they're getting a product they're buying anyway, that's impacting their life, and they're getting it for free, they're never going to quit. Why would they quit? Number two, if they're profiting, they're never going to quit. Hey, I don't want that money anymore. No one ever said that in the history of ever. So those are the two main things that are going to keep people in for 20 or 30 years, right? Because no one in network marketing is interested in a year or two of residual income, right? We're all interested in 15, 20, 30, depth of vision, deep, long-lasting residual income. And what's going to keep people around long-term purchasing power is free product or profit. That equals retention, right? Now, lastly, the very bottom here, if you can go down, if you have a high startup cost, right, a high auto delivery, and a high ratio, this is the conclusion. The amount of attrition will always be greater than the amount of momentum in your business. And the definition, like we always say, if you ain't growing, you're dying. You will always die more than you can grow at some point. It is impossible not to. Why? Because the average person can't build a team perfectly balanced of 30 to 1, of 40 to 1, 45 to 1. You're a leader, you're looking at this video, you look at your downline, the average person might get 3 or 4 people involved and just do a little bit. Well, is your model built for them, or is it built for the leaders? If you don't have a business that's built for the average person to help them, get these two things, free product or profit, how is your business going to keep around the average person? When you know 80% of your team is only doing 20% of the work and 20% is doing 80%, how are you going to have a long-lasting model if it's not catered to the 80%, right? So on high startup cost, you're neglecting, and I want to really get this to you guys too, you're neglecting the majority of international markets. Now, in network marketing, 70% of sales happen internationally. If 70% of sales happen internationally, having a startup cost where our dollar internationally is much more valuable than their dollar, right? Some people in El Salvador only make $300 a month, or $400 a month. How can you go into that company with a high startup cost, a high $300 a monthly salary just to start up, right? Or a high auto delivery, $150 to $250, half of their month's salary spent on auto delivery, and then a high ratio. They get involved and they need 30 to 40 people to start. 90 days into it, they're gone. They lose all this money. That's what happens. And what's going to happen is you're going to neglect 70% of the international market. And what happens is when you go into those countries, you're only targeting the top 1%. You go to Malaysia, you go to El Salvador, you go to places, in Mexico, you go to Singapore, you go to all these areas. And if you have a model like this, you're only allowing the top 1% to get involved. You're neglecting majority of the market. This is a plan that is not universally worldwide accepted. It's not met for the average person. It will cause a massive drop-offs, right? Because this is what I realized. After a few years in my previous company, majority of the people in my business weren't at the level where they were making enough to pay for their auto delivery. And if their goal is long-term residual income and they're not building a team of 35 or 40, then they're going to quit eventually. No matter what you do, you're not going to keep them around for 20 years if they're losing money and this is the model they have to fight against. And if you ask the person that's building this model, why, you don't get an answer. You get, I don't know, that's what the consultant told us. I don't know, that's what Monavi did. Well, guess what, Monavi is doing under, I'm not sure exact, I don't want to make any claims right now, I don't know the exact number, but they're tanking